Hey guys, welcome back to Buddy RC. My name is Clay.
And I'm Ed.
And today we're going to be talking about the Wove Racing RC cars. So today we're going to be kind of diving into what makes these guys tick, the innards of them, so you guys can kind of see just how durable these cars really are. So the really cool part about these guys is, of course, they're 4S, but they are so heavy duty. We had no idea until we tore into them. And Eddie's got some parts in front of him that he pulled off of one of our trucks to see what makes these things tick. So the first thing we're gonna kind of look at is actually the center diff slash your motor plate, yes, basically. So it actually uses a gear reduction. It's kind of an interesting design. Eddie, let's focus.
So you have a modular design. You got the motor, the brushless motor, the gearbox, which includes the pinion, and then the center diff. Has 4 screws. Pull that off.
Because you said gear reduction. Oh, that thing's huge.
Yeah, that's a big differential there.
So this is a center differential for this thing. This guy is huge. For someone coming out of normal 8 scale type racing, this is actually bigger than most 8 scale on or off-road vehicles. This thing is all metal. It looks like the pinion and spur gear are actually going to be metal. So you're not going to have to worry about ever having to strip one of these out and replace them. But the really cool part that, in my eyes, it's a sealed diff, which is kind of crazy on a more affordable car. You can see it's actually sealed right around here.
Yeah, it has an actual gasket and sealed ball bearings on both sides and throughout the truck.
I mean, these are really high quality parts for like that mid-tier RC car. This is some stuff you wouldn't even see in some of the high-end cars. So of course I'm going to get grease on my hands, so I'll apologize ahead of time. But yeah, we'll definitely dive in more into the drive line here. So we'll set this to the side for a second. And now we'll talk about the gear reduction. So the gear reduction,
you have a pinion, and then you have an idler gear.
And they're both metal, which is really cool. So you'll never have to worry about actually stripping these out. And the other cool part is you actually do have an adjustable mount here, so you can change the pinion and go with a different style pinion to get more acceleration or more speed out of it. So you can always make this car faster or do wheelies, whatever you want to do. But yeah, basically out of the box, it does 50 with this pinion. It's a good, for the Blitzkrieg, it's a really good mix of being able to do wheelies and do 50 miles an hour. So it's a really nice, it's geared very well out of the box. But yeah, the really cool part again, to this right here is this is a metal box, so this will also act as a little bit of cooling. The metal here will actually act like a heat sink as well to take heat away from the motor, because let's all be honest, they will get warm. That's just kind of how RC cars are. So the fan will help, especially with your heat sink and fan combo on there, but it's nice to have more metal attached to it and not have to worry about it melting plastic. It'll take all the heat away from the motor along with the heat sink on it. But again, like I said, this is a very nice setup. I want to say they look like mod 0.8 gears. So they're not going to be 48 pitch. You're not going to have to worry about having really thin gears. These are really beefy gears. And you can find them at most hobby shops. So if you ever want to change gears, you just go to a hobby shop, mod 8, throw it on, you're good to go. So yeah, that is a really neat feature there. These cars are actually really over-engineered. And I mean, like the style of this car, you would think, oh yeah, it's just a cheaper RC car. I'm telling you, don't sleep on this thing. This thing is so insanely durable, it's crazy. We're gonna talk about the rear and front differential. For a car this size, the differentials that I've seen come out in cars is about 3/4 the size of this, if not half the size of this. This thing is so well built. It's got a oil-filled diff. Same deal. It actually has a seal on it. Hopefully I can zoom in on this and you can see right in here, see that little blue line there? That's actually a seal. So you can always take this out, put a different oil in it. If you want to drift around a little bit more, you can put a thicker gear oil in it, or you can put a thinner gear oil in it in the rear to make it so it hooks around corners, doesn't do donuts on you, and you can lock the front same way. The front is the same as the rear. So it's a really nice design. I mean, it's crazy. It's a all metal gear diff. We didn't open up the inside of it because I'm not sure what kind of gears. I'm going to guess it's a planetary gear like most RC cars are. But it's definitely oil filled. because this thing, it's got some, you know, resistance to it, which is nice. But it has this nice plastic case around it that not only captures your diff, but it also captures your pinion for the front, and it captures the actual output shafts.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's
exactly modular, just like the center diff.
exactly
Completely modular.
Yeah, you can just pop it out and go. I mean, this is just shows you how over-engineered this car is. This is a huge differential for a car that is at this price point. You really got to understand, most cars that have differentials that are this size, they're probably going to be 8-scale buggies or 8-scale monster trucks, and they're going to be, you know, twice the amount of money for some kind of car like this. So that's the really cool part about this, is the bang for the buck is insane on this car.
Yes, for a 4S, very, very, very industrial size parts. Even the outer axle shafts, really strong outputs. And
also another thing that I really like is these don't use pins anymore. I'm very glad to get away from pins and your hexes. So on regular RC cars, you actually have a pin that will go through, and then you have your hex that will snap onto your axle. This is like a star pattern. Hopefully you can see that.
It's a spline, basically almost the same as the axle shaft itself.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about, oh, did I get it right there? Okay, I need to put the pin in and then lose the pin, because I've always lost the pins. It's nice, it just kind of just clicks in, ready to go, right into your bearing. So it's the right size for the bearing, super easy to put together, and you're done. And like I said, so these are really beefy on the edges. The other nice part is they are 17 millimeter hexes, as you can see on both the Blitzkrieg and the Tyrant. They both have 17 millimeter hexes, so it's super easy to find wheels for it. So if you want on-road wheels for this, you can go out and just go get 8-scale on-road tires. Same thing for the monster truck. Go out, get some 8-scale monster truck tires, throw them on, you're good to go.
So let's move on to the spindles. The front and rear spindles have the larger inner bearing and the smaller outer bearing, just like any other.
Yeah, these things are crazy sized too. This thing is ginormous. It's kind of amazing that they put this much plastic on a knuckle. I mean, it is really thick. We've yet to break one of these knuckles. And as you saw in the last video, we put them through their paces.
Yes.
But the really cool part about these is the front is an actual ball design. So
13 millimeters too.
Yeah, 13 millimeter ball, so it's super easy to work on. So you take this off, slide it in here, slide your ball through, and then this just captures it so you can, you know, have it on there. Yeah. But the really cool part about that, there's no adjustment. There's no adjustment at all. So I actually had to grab the truck real quick to show you guys this. The front has a ball cup design, so it's super simple to put together. You don't have to worry about trying to get lengths of arms. You don't have to worry about, you know, trying to get tie rods the same length, because not only are the A-arms non-adjustable for your camber and your toe, but for your camber and your caster, but same for your tie rods. These tie rods right here, they have a little thing in the center. It's basically just to make it so they don't move on you. I believe that's just a strengthener. There probably is a metal rod in there. That right there is just a strengthener for it. So you don't actually take it off and, you know, move it up and down. This gives you the perfect size for these cars.
Yeah, for a basher, you really don't need all that adjustability in the arms.
It just adds complication. Yeah. It just adds complication. That's the really cool part about these trucks, is you take them, you bash them, and then if you need to fix it, you don't have to go through and go, okay, well, that was 20 millimeters, this is 25, I need to shorten this. You don't need to shorten anything. Take the package, boom, put the part on, done. Which is, I like that a lot, especially for a basher. Like Eddie said, it just makes things more simple. So what's next, Eddie?
Well, the lower A-arms, that's another interesting part. 4 millimeter hinge pin.
Yeah. You see it a little better on the bottom of this. Yeah, you got a 4 millimeter hinge pin design that is captured by the really large, really large
3 millimeter.
3 millimeter
pin brace.
Yeah, that pin brace is huge. And then your bumper on the front.
Yes.
This is the bumper for the Blitzkrieg, so it is a little different. But Eddie actually brought this to my attention. This is actually hinged, so when you hit something, it's not going to snap in half.
Yeah. So there's a 4 millimeter screw through there.
Yeah, and these guys, these screws, not only are they really big screws, they're grade 10.9, which is crazy because, again, this price point I've never seen a car of this quality at this price point. You get a brushless setup, 4S setup, a car that doesn't break every time you run it, and it's just built to the moon and back. Like, it really is a really nice car. And we all have had one here. I've had multiple, and we have had so much fun with beating these guys up. Yes. At the skate park, like you guys saw in the last video. Are you kidding me, dude? This thing is awesome. These guys are crazy durable. So it's definitely a product that we not only sell, but we love, because we absolutely put these through their paces, for sure.
Well, show them this screw. Look at this.
Yeah,
These are the upper half bulkhead screws.
Yeah, hopefully this will zoom in.
They're really long. They really go all the way into the upper half of the bulkhead.
Might be able to see, it says grade 10.9 on it. They're 10.9. And these are really nice steel screws. This is what holds on everything to your bulkhead. So not only do you have the strength from, of course, the really strong plastics that are made for these cars, but you have these really long screws that will go super deep in, and you won't have to worry about this, you know, tiny one breaking off because it's just a little bit, there's only a little bit of threads in there. There's a ton of threads on these screws. So yeah, the A-arms themselves, as Eddie said, they are insanely beefy. I mean, they're physically just heavy. This is that carbon plastic mixture that I was talking about in the last video. So you won't have to worry about it shattering or anything like that. But the nice part is, like I said, it is a carbon plastic. So you won't have to worry about it exploding as soon as you hit something. But yeah, this is basically the bottom and the top together. It has a really nice etching right there of Wove Racing on it. And it has all these stiffeners, which is really nice. So that gives you strength, you know, this way and this way. So it's a bi-directional, you know, kind of webbing. Yeah, exactly.
And the uppers also have a little bit of webbing also to it.
Yeah.
And where it didn't need the strength, they made it a little thinner.
Exactly. So these cars will have full part support. We will have all of the parts in. It has, you know, every single part is replaceable on these cars. That's a really nice part. It's not a toy grade, it is a hobby grade bashing car. And I want to reiterate that. It really is a really nice car for the price. Don't let the price make you think that this is a cheap RC car. It's not. This thing weighs a ton.
Yeah, so this is the center shaft. I just wanted you to show that a little bit. You do have spline center shaft, so that when it does flex, the chassis will flex on hard landing.
Yeah, it's got a spring in there.
It's got a spring in there and spline.
Yeah.
And then the upper brace, it's a 10 millimeter solid aluminum.
This is crazy. So I had no idea. While Eddie was taking this apart, Eddie brought this over to me. And this is solid aluminum. I have never seen an RC car company do a solid aluminum brace from the factory. It's always a tube. I don't know if you have or not.
Yeah, I have some that have just a tube.
It really is a thick piece of aluminum. I have hit mine on some stuff, and let me tell you, this does not bend. This thing right here is a lifesaver, and it's at the top of the truck, which it does weigh a little bit, but to be honest, I would much rather have this holding my car basically from going into taco mode. Crazy. But yeah, it is nuts how durable this car is. I mean, Eddie can attest to it. We took these cars out for probably 2 hours to make that last video, and we could not stop driving these cars. Like, I know Eddie likes the monster truck and the buggy. I mean, I like them all.
I saw how much you enjoyed that buggy because of how planted it is.
It reminds me of like driving an 8-scale buggy, but 8-scale buggies are normally made for racing. They're normally not made for doing what we were doing. So they normally don't take that stuff very well because they have aluminum chassis, they bend really easily. And jumping it, you have a lot of control in the air, which is really nice. These cars are really heavy, which is nice. So, you know, they got weight to them to throw around in the air. So you could do stunts with the truck. You can get this guy to angle down, angle up, however you want. So it brought me back to my racing days,
yes.
for sure.
Yeah, so especially me with my off-nut nitro.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, the 8-scale buggy, the old nitros, that's kind of what it reminds me of, how it drives. Just again, it's just a lot more durable than any race car out there, because race cars are not meant to be durable in the sense of what we're doing. They're meant to go over dirt jumps, maybe land a little weird, and that's about it. These guys, I mean, as you saw, we took this thing, what, 30, 40 feet in the air probably, straight to flat, and it was completely fine. That's actually this car right here.
Yeah, a little bit of mud, but still in great condition.
I mean, you could see there's literal shavings of the plastic from the back
yes.
coming off. I mean, we really beat this thing up, and it just took it. So now this is the one that went 30 feet in the air at the end of the last video, as you guys saw.
Yes.
I mean, it took a beating. Yeah, guys, these trucks are insanely durable. We all love them here at the office. We cannot stop driving them. I think I'm gonna do an FPV one next. Eddie has an FPV one, and it's sweet. So yeah, off-road, long-range FPV, maybe put an MT-12 on it so we can do some long-range stuff. I don't know. Video coming.
We'll link that also in the description.
Exactly, yeah. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and Eddie, you wanna go drive this?
Let's go back.
We got a brand new one, dude, let's go.